see the outside, but white lies turn to purple elephants. How many times will I have to tell you it? I hope you know how to live with it, cause it's not going away. Don't try it on, don't try it on. White lies turn to purple elephants. Don't try, you'll become irrelevant. You can't train a purple elephant, give it a name and try to lock it away. But how can I take you seriously? You live with purple elephants. You think I'm being dramatic, it's the habit that'll drive you away. Yeah.
Hello there, and you are there, and as per usual, I am here. This is episode 28 of Killin Time. I would say quick one, but these things always drag out. But a couple of points revolved around everyone's fake lawyer, Scott Forbes, involving some messages from Sandra and some things that, of course, as we always like on here, gives me some vindication, because it's things I've said for ages, if not from the start. However, Sandra proves me right on a couple of things, and we'll get into that. However, there's another couple of things actually I'm going to point out about Scott Forbes as well. But before we get on with all that, we need to take a step back to the episode that we done last, with Sandra appearance on Mocha and Mysteries. And there was one thing that came to me. It's always the same when you're editing, and there's another point there that you kind of missed. So let's just have a little look at that quickly before we get on to the main reason as to why we're here today. So Sandra, take it away.
In quite a lot of the articles, there's no time for when she said that she'd gone past. It just says that she did go past at some point during the night before Jodie was killed, and she noticed that was happening.
Now that's really interesting, because they did try to claim that it was between 4:40. Now I have to get this absolutely right, or I'll get jumped on. 4:40 and 4:54, I believe.
Yes.
That was the time that she was passing the end of the entrance. And this is all manipulated to fit with Jodie leaving at 10 to 4, because had she left any later, the rest of the evidence means it couldn't have been Luke.
Yeah.
So they're manipulating this backwards. But
can anyone guess where I'm going with this one if you watched the last episode? Let's quickly rewind this little chat to the previous point that was made before Sandra claimed this little corker. So let's rewind it to the point right before this, which, again, fair enough, I didn't notice the first time round, but nobody pushed back on it. No pushback from the podcast host at all here. So let's look at the point that was made right before this one.
there's the witness that we talked about that couldn't identify him in court. She describes a guy standing at the entrance to the path, and he's got his hands out and come a bit so that you can see. He's got his hands out like this in front of him.
Yeah.
At his sides.
Yeah.
Okay. This is at exactly the time that Luke's calling the speaking clock. So either he glued his phone to his ear in order to have both hands out in front of him.
Yeah.
Or the guy at the end of the path wasn't him.
So in the first clip, Sandra Loon had to give a 6-minute estimate for when Andrina Bryson would have been passing the top of Rowan's Dyke path. In the previous point, and the one that we played after it, you'll see that Luke Mitchell was on his speaking clock the exact time that Andrina Bryson went past. So why is there any confusion over what time she actually went past, when apparently we know that Luke Mitchell was on his clock, his speaking clock, phoning it at that exact time? So, which one is it, Sandra? Is it the exact time, or is it in between the 6 minutes that you give the point after it? And somebody needs to kind of look at this as well. This isn't the first time I've noticed something like this. Now, granted, I didn't notice it the first time round, but at the end of the day, there's enough of these for people to be spotting them at the time. The contradiction doesn't even come in different podcasts or later on in the podcast. It comes on in the very next sentence, which is ridiculous. At the end of the day, she has to make her mind up. Now, is there a 6 minute period where they went past to go along with police times, or is it the exact time that Luke Mitchell was on the phone to the speaking clock? Can't be both, but somehow manages to be both within the space of 5 minutes. Another contradiction, just because it's both lies. Both of them are lies. At the end of the day, you don't know that someone went past at that exact time, because she has to give a 6 minute approximation after it. But at the same time, this whole idea that all the timings were worked backwards, again, it's just to add to more conspiracy. Both these points will put question marks in someone's head. They'll say, well, why are they working back the times, and how can he be on the phone at the same time that he's supposed to be spotted? So there's two different questions, two different question marks over the investigation and Luke's conviction, when in reality they both can't exist at the same time, and it's just put there for a little bit more conspiracy to make it sexy for Sandra Lynn, because the old saying's true: if you chuck enough shit at the wall, some will stick. And that's basically what Sandra's doing here, muddying the waters and not even making sense on the same points. So well done, Sandra, you're just as good as Scott. And while we're here and on this very same point, there was something else Sandra Lynn said, which big up to Fellowship, but in our last video they put something in the comments which I'm just going to go through quickly, so let's hear Sandra's words first.
The phone records show that he had a habit of calling the speaking clock in the morning, sort of round about between 8:15 and 9:15, so time to get ready to leave for school.
Yes.
And in the afternoons between sort of 4:30 and 5, so he's getting home from school and looking at starting dinner, because he cooked dinner for the family.
Yeah.
So there is evidence there that this is something he did on a regular basis, but because this one night they need it to mean something, they make a thing of it. So
the claim is that it was something that Luke done regularly in terms of calling the speaking clock. As handily enough though, Fellowship actually put up the calls to the speaking clock from the 1st of January 2003 up and including to 30th of June 2003. So let's go through it very quickly. There is an element of truth, but also no. In terms of what Sandra Lynn says there, obviously she said called when he was getting ready to go to school and when he was thinking about making dinner. So let's go through these very quickly. There's only 11, don't worry. So the 3rd of January at 3 minutes past 5, Friday. The 4th of January at 1 minute to 1, which was a Saturday. So that's out with the times, regardless, moving on. 9th of January, 11:05 a.m. and 12:21 p.m. That was a Thursday, so again, not what she said. 19th of February, 4:30 p.m. Wednesday, that is what she said. 28th of February, 8:36 and 4:23, which is a Friday, so we won't go through them all, but this, again, that one was right. 4th of March, 8:49 p.m. Tuesday. 10th of March, 8:07 a.m. Monday. 14th of March, 7 p.m. Friday. 2nd of May, 12:27 p.m, which was a Friday. And the 22nd of May, 8:45. Another call is noted at 4:45. The date is not given, but it looks as though it may be the same day, which was that, again, the 22nd of May, which is a Thursday. And the 30th of June at 4:53 p.m. on the Monday, which is the one obviously Sandra's talking about. But as you can see there, 12 over the months there. And as pointed out there, there was only one call made to the speaking clock in June 2003, which is the one we're talking about just now. No calls made in April at all. You'll notice there as well. But remember, it was
on a regular basis. Regular basis. Regular basis.
So it was done on a regular basis, and it was just before school and just when he was getting ready to make dinner. But if we look at the actual evidence, which she does cite, there's evidence there to show that he called the speaking clock. Indeed there is. We're looking at it. But the problem is, it doesn't really match up with what's said. It's not really as regular as, it's inferred, and it doesn't coincide with the times that she says. And I'll say again, because it bears repeating, none of that shows that Luke Mitchell was in his house, because it's a mobile phone. It could be absolutely anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere to prove innocence, or at the same time guilt, let's be honest. But at the same time, it does show that it's a bit strange, because as much as you'd like to try and work your way around it, why would you be using your mobile phone to phone the speaking clock when you're in a house filled with clocks? And I suppose if we looked at each time separately, we could kind of show that he's probably more than likely out the house, especially on these 10 to 9 times. You're actually trying to get to school for about 10 to 9. Some of the other times he would have been at school. Doesn't match up what she's saying, but just another quick point. Now, let's get on to everyone's favourite fake lawyer, Scott Forbes. So, some messages came into my possession. Messages from Sandra concerning Mr. Scott Forbes. So I thought we would take a little second and read them. There's a lot of reading to do, so I apologise in advance, guys. But here we go, from Sandra. The journalist I spoke with last week specifically asked me not to let Scott know we were speaking. AJ's office has also been instructed not to update Scott on anything. So Sandra wanted rid of Scott then, with him not being updated on anything. She said, and meanwhile, Scott was doing what exactly? Stalking people, finding their workplaces and addresses, and turning up to harass them, putting out podcasts with facts he either didn't check or just took from some random gossips in the area. So there's Sandra actively stating that Scott Forbes takes on board gossip and promotes it as fact. And you'll notice there, she does put facts in quotation marks. So he either didn't check or took some random gossip. So he didn't check up. Again, this is the lawyer who is, you'll see what he's doing. But there is a couple more from Sandra. One I'll read just very quickly here. Wait, is Scott claiming he had a top QC, forensic team, name and location of samples, politicians, tabloids, etc., which have all disappeared, again in quotation marks, because he left the groups? Well, apparently Scott says he was never a part of the groups, so he couldn't have left them. Anyway, wow. There's bullshit, and then there's absolute bullshit. So absolute bullshit. I mean, how many times have I said that about you, Scott? But there we go, there's Sandra saying it about you. So Scott didn't check up, took random gossip from the locals. He was not allowed to know who Sandra was speaking to, and he was not allowed to be updated. That was by Sandra. Scott likes to blame the group right now for everything that's went wrong, and we'll go on to show something about that. But there's Sandra saying that she was actively trying to keep Scott away from being updated and thought that he was speaking absolute bullshit about some of the claims he'd made about the QC, the forensic team and everything, because Scott wanted to be the saviour. Again, I'm going to show that. But there is one more thing from Sandra. It's a little bit longer, so let's take a little time to go through that and recap these as well. As I say, this next message is a little bit longer, but let's go through it. God, this is painful. One of the journalists he brought on board was someone I'd worked with for years. He, journalist, came to me privately about 6 months ago to say he wasn't happy working with Scott because he couldn't be trusted. He told me his colleagues refer to Scott as an educated fool. I would take educated out of that. Just a fool. By the way, Scott started pleading with me the day I was in hospital, and he was pleading because he'd sold, quotation marks, stories, not for money, you know what I mean, no, on the basis that I would be able to back them up immediately without actually telling me up front that he's spoken to those journalists. It was presented to me as fait accompli, and I now had to give them the info to back him up. So to go back to an early point that I'd made, Scott Forbes was an attack dog for Sandra, there to stir everything up. But the attack dog didn't want to be on the lead and decided to push its owner underneath the bus, which is what I said would happen, and I did say at the time it was happening, that's what's going on. And there's Sandra just kind of confirming it as well, that Scott was not to be controlled and doing things out with what she wanted, because she was the leader of the pack. She was the top dog, and Scott was just one of the head flying monkeys until he decided to make his own clan, the Little Flying Monkeys, and do a coup. Now, Scott's not interested in the power, Scott's not interested in the money. What Scott's interested in is the notoriety and the fact that people think he's important. In reality, and I will go on to show, it wasn't Luke's lawyer, but there's Sandra in some messages, private messages, stating that Scott was not to be updated, Scott was not trusted, Scott was referred to as an educated fool, and he done things off his own back, and then decided that Sandra should make good on the promises that he'd made. So everything that I did say, Scott was used as a tool, but unfortunately he is a tool and he wanted to take over, and Sandra couldn't control it, just like she couldn't with Gemma, who got rid of her as well, because they're all in it for themselves. None of them are even here for Luke Mitchell. And you know what, that's one thing you think they would, at least one of them would give a fuck about, but none of them do.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
They're all here for their own means to their ends. So Scott's here for notoriety, Sandra was here for a little money, I think Gemma's here for some vindication, and same with Rachel and Nicola and all the rest of them. They're here to feel a little bit important, feel like they understand something. Easier to sell somebody another conspiracy than tell them that they fell for a conspiracy. So that's what they're doing. But let's go on to show another couple of little things that all add in quite nicely to this utter fallacy of a campaign led by two grifters who were just looking for what they could get out of it for their own benefit. So one of the campaign group admins, Rachel, had put up a post and answering someone's question. She said, the short answer is no. Scott and Sandra are not working on Luke's behalf. Luke hasn't spoken to Sandra in months, and he has never spoken to Scott.
Drink it in, man.
Scott did send him 2 threatening letters recently, but left no return address, so Luke couldn't reply. Brilliant. Sorry, but let's not skip over that though. Scott sent 2 threatening letters recently. 2 threatening letters to Luke Mitchell. Remember, he's supposed to be helping Luke Mitchell get out of jail, but he's sending him threatening letters according to the campaign. Carrying on. After concerns for a long time in July this year, and not hearing from Sandra after she told Luke's friends she was out, Luke made the final decision to send a signed and dated mandate withdrawing all authorisation and permissions for Sandra Lean to work with or access materials pertaining to his case, also withdrawing permissions to speak and act on his behalf, which she obviously isn't listening to because she's done 2 podcasts since then, so that's nonsense. Wonder what Luke will do about it. Absolutely nothing, because at the end of the day she's still promoting his bullshit. Currently, Luke has a lawyer, not Scott Forbes, who is corresponding with Police Scotland and COPFS about remaining samples. Don't believe that. This is obviously a divisive thread, so please remember the first rule of the group: be kind and courteous to each other. Unless your name's Sandra Lean or Scott Forbes, then you can get to fuck. Or if your second name's Jones, then the family will also not be kind and courteous, because they'll spread all the bullshit for the two experts that they're now disowning and trying to get away from, but they'll still use their bullshit stories because that's how they got introduced to it. That's all they know. It's their way of thinking. So yeah, there we go. What do you think of that one? Scott sending threatening letters to Luke. Sandra hadn't spoke to Luke in months. Scott has never spoken to Luke at all. I wonder what he'll say about that. Scott? What's true there? It's hard to tell who's telling the truth here, because they're all full of shit. Sandra's absolutely proved. Again, she lies and lies and lies and lies. Scott changes his lies a lot. I've got a couple of examples of that actually to show you. And this here, I mean, this is coming for the people that are still trying to raise money for something that could be paid by legal aid. Why do they need the money? Because they're giving it to a convicted murderer. That's why. There you go. That's as simple as that. All the money that's donated is going to Luke Mitchell now. So everybody that's listening to this that was a Luke Mitchell supporter, or never has been, or it still is, I mean, what do you think about the fact that this money is going to a convicted killer? There's been so many things that have been set up in terms of the buy me a coffee, the GoFundMe and everything else, which were shown to be against the law. But now we'll just send it straight to Luke. No one will bat an eyelid. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. So I also got sent a snippet of something. Something a little bit interesting, but doesn't go all the way to prove everything about what's been said about Scott Forbes. I'll put that straight up on Front Street there. Scott had, but what I done was I just put up the signature from Scott's letter with the caption, "What do we have here then?" which said, "Regards, Scott Forbes." Asking him really to get ahead of it and tell people what I was going to let them know about what I'd seen in this letter. So Scott had actually shared it and said, "He really has me embarrassed now. Letter to Luke Mitchell defending Jane Hamilton after his fickle," because he can't spell psycho partner threatened to burn her alive, with a capital P, and reminding him that his group, that Jodie Jones mattered, because he's so fucking altruistic, he's so empathetic, and he's so caring, isn't he? That's what we see from Scott in all his behaviour. He's level-headed, he's empathetic, he's caring, and he's just downright just a nice guy. Oh, that was hard to get through with a straight face, by the way. However, Scott had put that there. He'd also said, because I'd said, well, prove that, fucking show people exactly what you said. And he said, "I can't publish those letters without Luke Mitchell's permission, and he needs mine, but more than happy to do so." So, he has said that he couldn't publish the letters because he would need Luke's permission. Now, let's bear in mind that Scott Forbes is sharing personal medical records, evidence, crime scene photos, and claims without anything to back them up about people, putting them at risk, including their identities, trying to dox people online, all that stuff. He is putting that out there, but he can't share the pool with the winners with a Luke because he needs a permission. What a crock of fucking shit. What an absolute cop-out by a liar. A bad liar at that. And the thing is with Scott as well, is, I mean, I can actually show his lies in real time. So there was a post that he'd put up there, "I'll look for copies of the letters and publish them. WTF is troubled about Sandra Lean's PhD and BLA honours, LLB, always slagging. A uni dropout, I guess. All will be revealed soon. A couple of things about that just whilst we're here. So he'll look for copies of the letters and publish them, even though he's not allowed to publish them. I'm troubled about Sandra's PhD in philosophy, which is not criminology, which is the whole fucking point, Scott. And the other, your BA honours, your fucking whatever it is in terms of your qualification. I am telling you, and I am telling everyone else, that you have not been a professional lawyer. You were never signed off your traineeship. You might have a qualification, Scott, but you've not worked as a lawyer. Ever. Ever. And I'm going to show that you weren't Luke's lawyer. This is the bit you should have got ahead of, Scott. But you didn't, because what you did was you just talked some fucking nonsense about the fact that you couldn't publish the letters to begin with. Now, we all know that's not true, Scott, don't we? And what you also did do, Mr. Forbes, is you decided to say that you were putting up a quote from the letter. Something that you're apparently saying. Now remember, he was defending Jane Hamilton. Defending Jane Hamilton is all fine and well if it was true, but the reality is, the fucking reality is, you have sent your little minions, like that little racist thing that hangs about you all the time, to attack Jane Hamilton, to retweet her shit, call her all shades of shit, to say that she was led a campaign against Luke Mitchell, even though she never wrote anything about Luke Mitchell for 15 years, and she wasn't at the Daily Record, the paper that you say caused all that stuff at the time. It's just not true. But you are protecting Jane Hamilton by sending all these people after her online to harass her, but suddenly you're gonna write to Luke to protect her. Fucking pull the other one, man. Absolute nonsense. That lie needs slapped down hard. But he did put up a little quote, apparently, from the letter. Now remember, he needed to look out the letters. He needed to look them out so he could publish them. But within just a couple of seconds here, we managed to get some verbatim from it. Your group turned nasty after I highlighted their failures, then got worse after I visited Gordon, May and Livingston. I ask you to instruct your group to remove their lies, including the lies about samples, letters, in order to obtain money from kind people who support you. So now Scott's protecting the kind people who support him and they get the money. What a absolute fucking bunch of nonsense. And there will be the angry typers who'll clip chimp all this shit and put it up and try and besmirch me for it instead of actually addressing the fact that Scott is lying. He is absolutely lying. So, Scott, I will put this up here as well, I won't bury the lead. I didn't get the full letter, but I got two little snippets. I will be looking to get the full letter. I don't know when, but I'm looking to get it all. So you can get out in front of this even more. You can stop lying, and you can tell people what you said to Luke. You sent threats. That's not a threat. Protecting Jane Hamilton's not a threat. But do you notice it has to be two positive things that he was doing? He was looking to protect the innocent people who have been given money, and the journalist which he has led a campaign against for years, and he's suddenly protecting them from Luke's group. No. Absolute fucking bullshit. So let's get on to the little snippet of the letter that I got here as well, Scott, because I know you've been fucking squeaky bum time thinking about what's coming here. It's not that bad yet, mate, but it's going to get bad, so maybe get out ahead of it. First off, there's Scott's signature. That's the letter in question, one of the letters that he sent to Luke, which his campaign claim have threats in it. Scott claims that he was just protecting everybody. What? Fucking pull the other one, man. Dear Mr. Mitchell, LM Mitchell versus HM... Sorry, I have to zoom in there. LM Mitchell versus HMA. I refer to the above and confirm, like last time, I'm not too pleased. We'll skip over the spelling mistakes, and the ones that are coming up, I'll just replace what they're supposed to be. Well, actually, maybe not all of them. Firstly, since 2011 stroke 11, I wasn't asked to be your lawyer. I was asked to put some life, supposed to be, some life into a dead case. The lawyer, registered with the Law Society, came to you much later. So the lawyer, registered with the Law Society, you know, like Scott, isn't, and wasn't, and won't be, came to look much later, because like Scott says, and he says in his own words, I was not asked to be your lawyer. I was asked to put some light into a dead case. So Scott tells you he wasn't a lawyer. He's not educated whatsoever. He didn't think anyone would read even the slightest bit of that letter, so he thought he'd get away with it. Why did he not think that? Because why would Luke Mitchell show anybody this stuff? Why would Luke Mitchell show that he's got a con artist pretending to be a lawyer for him? Now, as I say, I'm going to try my damnedest to get the rest of this letter, and I won't give it up, Scott. So maybe you should admit the rest of what's in there before I show everybody. You didn't think I was going to get that bit, did you? Just that little snippet? Where did I get it from? Who the fuck knows, eh? Who knows? Maybe some more's coming my way already. But whilst we're here, actually, let's show another Scott lie in real time. Just like the other ones, this one's a brilliant one. Let's show this in real time. So there's a post from Mr. Forbes in his pseudo fucking professional way of writing, because he always thinks somehow it makes him look like he knows what he's talking about when he puts in the HMA. So HMA versus Luke Mitchell 2003. Police stroke Crown argued that a green army parka was burnt in this wood burner. There were no forensic traces of the fire in the garden stroke fire, and no trace of accelerant. But the press fed this fire to the public. Now, I spoke about the fire in the last episode. What did I say?
No evidence of a parka jacket or any other clothing being burned there.
Unidentified green fibres found in the log burner. What colour was the parka? Wasn't fucking pink.
And then what happened was Scott, like so many times that I have pointed out he is lying, the story changed. Scott said, the greenish stroke grey fibres found in the pit were identified as best they could and linked to the spine of a school jotter. That fire that they didn't have, that didn't have any traces of anything in it, suddenly has traces that can be linked to a jotter. Where did they come from? What happened there? There was nothing in the fire to begin with. Then suddenly I make a comment, and then suddenly it changes. And it happens to be the same video where I point out that I know what transcript's coming, and that I might have put out a little bit bait to bait you in. Was that the bait, Scott? Did you just make the situation worse? We'll find out, won't we? But there's another lie in real time, because Scott can't stick to one story. He can't post the letters, he'll look for the letters, he suddenly knows the contents of the letters. Absolute fucking nonsense. And the fact that these people just keep swallowing every reinvention, every hour and a half, another thing, and everybody's like, yeah, Scott's telling the truth, Scott's a lawyer, he's a professional, what would he have to gain to lie? Notoriety and money and the idea that he feels important, because the guy's permanently online. Look at his Twitter feed. The guy is permanently online. That's why he's so fucking brain broken. The guy is fucking brain broken because he spends all his time on Twitter. He's not got a life between his drinking, what I say is his booger sugar, and his Twitter refreshing. That's all he's got. And he thinks now that he's some kind of intellectual, he's going to be chatting on politics. Honestly, every single thing that this guy holds dear is a pseudo kind of expertise that he's got. He's good at kind of what's the way you can put it? He's good at keeping information in terms of things historically that have happened, and politics more so. You can cite a lot of things that have happened in the political sphere, which I'll be honest, and for once I'll give him a compliment. It's not easy to do. There's not a lot of people that are politically minded that agree with all his political leanings. Absolutely fucking not. But at least he can cite something when it comes to that shit. Give him credit for that. You get one. You get one.
Everybody gets one.
But the reality is, he's still a charlatan and a liar. It comes out in some of his political opinions as well, but definitely with this. He can change a story. He can be speaking to the same people and change his story, and they buy it every single time because he's got his marks, just like Sandra. She could change her story, she could contradict herself, and no one notices everything because you just listen to the story. That's all it is. But there's lies in real time. How do you explain the fact that there's suddenly fibres from a jotter but there wasn't a fire? Bearing in mind that Luke Mitchell admitted that there was a fire. Luke Mitchell admitted, just like Luke Mitchell admitted he deleted his own phone records, and Scott said that the police done it. So, anybody else struggling to see through this bullshit? Because there will be some people in my comments that will be defending this. Address the point. Address the point. Why did the story change? Don't come at me with, you're bullying Scott Forbes. Bullying Scott Forbes, after the way he treats everybody online. He's going to out them. He's going to tell everybody. He's going to dox everybody online. Instead of addressing the lies that you've spoke, Scott, you can tell everybody in the world who I am, who anybody else is that you speak to online, but it won't change the fact that you fucking lied. And your little quote, no one trashes your name more than someone who's scared you'll tell the truth. Why are you trashing, or why are you trying to trash people's names online, Scott? Why won't you address your lies? These stories have changed. I have shown you they've changed. There's no denying it. You have been in 3 different places with some different cases. So explain them. Explain how these fibres suddenly appear when in that last post the fire didn't exist. Because you're a fucking liar. So there you have it. The group don't want anything to do with Scott or Sandra, but they will continue to use the claims that Scott and Sandra raised and spread as a part of the story that they're going to tell, so they can raise money for samples that they don't need because they can get legal aid. But we know all that money is going to Luke Mitchell. Where was it going before? I think it was going to Sandra's pocket. However, maybe a little bit money for Scott as well, just for his attack dog status, which we've always said existed, and Sandra has shown. Scott was an uncontrollable gossip spreader. Words of Sandra Lean, remember, the expert. And it's all a case of reconciling. Like I say nearly on every single video, one of these guys might be telling the truth, but they can't all be telling the truth, so you have to pick one. And that means that if the other ones have been lying now, they must have been lying before, which means, say you pick Scott, let's say Scott's telling the truth, but everything he had was fact-checked by Sandra Lean, which means if Sandra was a liar, that was a lie. Same with the campaign. If they're going to be saying Sandra was this and Scott was that, and then still use their stuff as a part of their, backing up their fucking story, can't be true. Somebody has to lie along the line. You have to reconcile this. There's no feasible way for you to find the truth in any of this. They're all carnies. They're all liars. and I've done nothing but prove it for a year and a half. They have done nothing but attack me personally for being a troll, for being a bully, for apparently being a misogynist, which is fucking hilarious coming from Scott Forbes. The most racist, bigoted, sexist, idiotic, knuckle-dragging, Neanderthal, absolute fucking goober of a man telling me that I am a misogynist and that I don't like women. And what was it that my work colleagues had reported me to the police because they feared for Sandra and Heather, one of the people on Twitter. Why would they give a fuck about Heather? Would they not more be concerned about me speaking about Sandra and you, Scott? I mean, could you not even make that lie more convincing? That they're going to be worrying about some random person. Do you think everybody is permanently on Twitter like you? I'll be honest, but I think there's like 2 or 3 people that I know that actually use Twitter in my genuine, like, outside of life. Maybe 2 or 3 people that go on it. No one else fucking goes on it. Because it's toxic. It's full of, well, arguments, like I said last time. And more to the point, it's full of vile, toxic idiots like yourself, Scott. Even you got chucked off of Twitter for your behaviour before, and yet you should technically get chucked off it now for all the shit that you're sharing. But remember, you can't share poor Luke's little wears. You can only share the private medical information and everybody else's identity and everything. That's one. Before I forget, actually, of course, the Liam Payne, I believe his name is, from One Direction, passed away not long ago, a couple of days ago, when we're recording this. I'll be honest, I have nothing against One Direction, nothing for One Direction. Not my style of stuff, whatever. I didn't even know who he really was. So, you know what I mean? But, like, all the best to the family and whatnot. It's not really the point. However, when discussing that, Scott's minions were very upset that some information had been shared in terms of the scene, what had happened. There was some photos that were shared as well, and they were not too happy. They actually said that it should be illegal and that that should be dealt with, and then ignored the fact that they've been sharing all the stuff that Scott has put up online. So even they are hypocritical fucking idiots. Suddenly Liam Payne, all that stuff should be shared. That's personal information. He's a young guy. That's not right. But here's some crime scene photos. Here's some claims for Scott, backed up with nothing. Here's some photos that I stole off Facebook of people. You fucking morons. They don't even notice it. They don't even see it because they're so blinkered as to think that the ends justify their means. They can do whatever they want. They can make wild accusations about who people are, put innocent people at risk. Again, photos. That one. Photos of people that were not involved with the case that they decided they would say are other people. The explanation: we make mistakes. Scott said that one of them had been doorstepped, probably by him because he likes to harass people apparently and stalk them. But somebody had been doorstepped and they thought it looked like him. Fucking good one. It looked like him. You, Scott, shared a photo of a boy, a man, a dead man, called Joe. Now, again, just going over this very quickly. I know we spoke about it before, we'll just go over it very quickly. I went on Facebook and found that post that you had taken, and the description above it clearly stated it was from his granddaughter, and she was grieving because her grandfather had passed away. Now, you then took that photo, you said it was Alan Ovens, which it was not. You intentionally lied, passed it to Heather, your wee minion, your wee racist pal, who then put it on a meme of all the people, all the main players as you like to call them. You lied, actively lied. There was no way of confusing that photo as being anything other than the person it was. You went out your way to lie about it. You've never explained that. Heather's never explained it. What she said was people make mistakes. No, there was not a mistake. You fucking lied. I could prove within minutes of you posting that and me being past that it was a lie. Now the thing is, it had been going for ages, and if you do Google certain things on the images, you still will find that photo. So it's not like it's been removed. The police officers that Scott claimed were related to the Jones family, I've been asking for some clarification on this for a year and a half, for good reason. I know it's a lie. I know that the two names that Scott had given in relation to apparently being, I think it was cousins, he had then put it down to brothers at one point as well, but different relations, let's just say they were related. He gave two names, which was Alan and James, which was also the name of Jodie's dad. Now there was a whole confusion about statements from dead people and everything else, because apparently Scott had read a statement from PC James Jones. Now, it doesn't make any sense because Jodie's dad was never a police officer and he's hardly going to be looking into the case 5 years after he had committed suicide. So, it was another James and Alan. But, there was three names given by Sandra Lean, and not one of them were Alan or James. Not one of them. There was an Andrew. There was not a James or an Alan. So again, could we get a little clarification on that corker of a fucking lie? You have said that there are members of Lothian Borders Police that were related to the Jones family and helped cover it up. Give the names. Let's have some clarification on that. Let's see if you can keep to the same two names, or indeed if you incorporate one of the three that Sandra used. Maybe you could make it 5. Go full haul. Talk utter pish. But this is all it in reality, isn't it? The whole Scott's change in lies. You've seen there by the fibres that were found in the fire. Suddenly it's school jotter fibres. There was not any fibres. And then I bring up the fact that fibres were found, and now suddenly it's a school jotter. Let's just take that one example. Let's just take that one example and really, really look at it before we wrap up, right? So, there is no fibres, there was no fire. Scott's own words. Luke Mitchell admits, and it's in his appeal records if anybody wants to clarify, that he believes his mum and his brother had a fire that night. Sandra Lean keeps this lie up, that there was no fire. It was all forensically tested and there was nothing found. I point out that there was green fibres found in the fire, and now Scott suddenly says there was a school jotter that was found in the fire. Someone just look at this as a whole. See why the lie changes. See when it changes.
It doesn't make any sense. I wish there was sense. Where did all the sense go?
Now, I'd said in that video, again I'll go over it, I said there's a transcript coming. Will it prove me right? Will it prove Scott right? Is it even in there? Did I bait you, Scott, into saying something that's not even related to what I'm going to fucking show everybody? Huh? Did I? Did you just put your foot in your... Well, actually, you only open your mouth to change fucking feet. But did you just put your foot in your mouth when it came to admitting a little bit more truth about that fire? Let's see. The transcript will be with us soon. Anyway. Oh, in fact, before I do a wrap up, I've got another little point.
Well, the police officer who found the Manson paintings said in his evidence, at the time, these images were really, really difficult to find. You had to know what you were looking for.
Yeah.
Well, that suggests that the police officer knew what he was looking for, and the question is why, when there was no other evidence to suggest Luke had ever seen it.
Yeah.
Paintings and images were really hard to come by. Well, forgive me for sounding like Jack Skellington, but
What's this? I can't believe my eyes. I must be dreaming. Wake up, Jack. This isn't fair.
I mean, what is that? That is the video for the single from the album of Marilyn Manson. That single is called Mob Scene, and in it you'll see some burlesque style dancers with makeup on. Show up a couple of more images here of Elizabeth shot and made up to look like the Black Dahlia. Now, when was that music video released? Bear in mind, Jodie Jones was murdered on the 30th of June. When did that video come out? April. So those images were already being portrayed on MTV and any other station that was carrying that video. And if you happen to watch the video on YouTube, for example, anything like that, those images were regularly available. There was not hard to find. There was no hiding in Marilyn Manson's homage to the Black Dahlia murder. This is what I was saying before. He made a point of making this a part of his advertising. Everyone knew that was his new obsession, and that what he was modelling all this stuff on. Sandra Lean can keep telling everybody that these things were alien to Luke Mitchell, but it was a part of Marilyn Manson's whole style, and as I've shown there, it was available well before Jodie Jones was murdered, and to anyone who was going to watch one of those videos. So that is just absolute fucking nonsense. But once and for all, let's just put it here. Again, let's show the images. Tell me one more time that Luke Mitchell did not have any idea what the Black Dahlia was when Marilyn Manson was promoting it on Front Street like that. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But that's where I'm going to leave it for today, you'll be glad to know. So this one won't last for an hour and a half. Please guys, let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think of the fact that Scott's lies can evolve over time? And I can show you his lies evolving over time. Sometimes in the same day that lie changes. And how can this keep going? How can anybody feasibly keep believing these two when just a little bit scratching at the surface shows you that none of their stories match up with each other or with themselves? You should be able to agree with yourself now, shouldn't you? So, what do you guys think of what I've shown you today? What do you guys think of the fact that Scott Forbes is sending threatening letters to Luke Mitchell with no chance of any kind of recourse because he can't write back to him? Why would Scott send those letters? Why would he lie about what's in those letters? Remember, he was supposed to be protecting Jane Hamilton and the good people who had given money to Luke under false pretenses. Where do you sit on the campaign? If they are raising money and still continue to raise money under false pretenses, where do you sit on that? And where do we sit on Sandra Lean, clinging on to some kind of hope when Luke Mitchell has stated that he does not want her working or doing anything in his name? Why does she continue to do it? Who's trustworthy out of any of these? And what stories do you still believe? I'll tell you, never believed any of them. Still don't believe any of them. And I think I've done a good job at showing why you shouldn't. So, let me know what you think of Scott's little love letter to Luke. What do you think of the evolving lies? What do you think of Sandra Lean not being able to keep up with her own lies on the same podcast? Please leave a comment below. What I'll also say is, just put it out here as well so you know and you don't get confused, I am going to be re-uploading an episode of Killin Time that was taken down. The reason it was taken down was because there was a voice note in there by someone who wasn't happy that their voice was put out there in the public, so they put a complaint in. Now, fair enough, that's fine. If you don't want to be heard saying those things, my best advice would be don't fucking say those things to begin with. Especially if you're recording yourself. I mean, how fucking dumb can you be? Well, pretty dumb. Look at the people we're dealing with. Absolute idiots. People that admit they're not lawyers and then tell everybody they are a lawyer. And again, Scott, if you want to prove everybody wrong, put up your qualification and put up any documents that show you were signed off as a professional lawyer, and no one will have any arguments. No one will be able to come back on that. But you can't do that, Scott, can you? No, you can't. Just like Sandra can't put up her criminology degree because it doesn't fucking exist. Now, whilst we wrap all this up, as I say, look out for that other episode. The reason I'm putting it back up, I will say, is because it was the ex-admins for the group that shared their story. I don't think it's very fair that they can't tell their story now because of one little bit in the video. So, as I say, I will upload it. I'll let everyone know it's a re-upload. If you haven't seen it, please do watch it because it is their story and I think they do deserve a voice. At the end of the day, I don't agree with everything they've said. I said it on the video as well, but it's still their right to talk about how they were treated. Again, we'll take down that little bit, but we'll modify it so you at least know what was said. And yeah, please, as I say, if you've not watched it, do watch it. In fact, it was one of my most shared episodes. Last I knew, it was up at around about 4,500 views, maybe close to 5,000 views. So it was, for Killin Time, that's really quite high and well performing. So I know that a lot of people have heard it and kind of spread it, and Scott and his pals still use the lines from the voice note in themselves, but now they put it on me. Now apparently I'm going to mow down any fucker that gets in my way. Wrong buddy, wrong again, because Scott can't get anything right. He couldn't fucking hit a donkey's arse with a banjo. Guy is such a goober. But anyway, brain broken motherfucker. Let's wrap all this up and get out of your way so you can get on with the rest of your day. As always, thank you for listening to this video, especially if you go all the way to the end through my ramblings and my swearing, all the rest of it. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for giving me a sarcastic thumbs up. Remember, we know it's sarcastic. Hit it once, hit it twice, hit it a third time, and it's sarcastic. We can tell. Of course, subscribe if you want to keep up with us. What I will say is, as well, is I've got another video coming out, which is tangentially related to this, but not really related to it. It's a list for something a bit different. So give that a wee watch when it comes out. See what you think about that. As I say, kind of linked to this, but not really about this. So it might give you a wee bit of fresh air, so to speak, inside this quagmire of a conversation of carnies, fraudsters and liars. But look out for that. As I say, we'll have the re-upload of the other episode of Killin Time. So please do subscribe and follow us if you want to be kept up to date with all that. As I keep on saying, leave a comment down below, but don't be a Derek. Follow us on X or Facebook. At some point I will get back to it. I will. I don't know when. Who knows? Maybe make that next year's goal for New Year. That can be it. I will spend more time on Facebook. I don't want to spend time on social media. It's full of fucking idiots like this. But yes, follow us on X, maybe Facebook. Probably best getting us on X. Leave a comment. Don't be a Derek. And enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
White lies turn to purple elephants. Don't try, you'll become irrelevant. You can't train a purple elephant. Give it a name and try to lock it away. But how can I take you seriously? You live with purple elephants. You think I'm being dramatic. It's the habit that'll drive you away.